Good day everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the basic ideas that we should know to start the study of projective geometry. So let's start with the three undefined terms: the point, line, and plane. Usually, when we talk about point, we are describing it as a dot. And when we talk about line, we are describing it as a set of points. Also, when we talk about line, we are imagining as a straight line which extends infinitely in opposite direction. And then, when we talk plane, it is a flat surface that extends in all directions. Sometimes we describe it as a set of points and lines. So now, let's start with the word incident. The following pairs are said to be incident if point is an element of line, point is an element of plane, and line is an element of plane. So here, the word incident is very significant. We can always use this in the next discussions. We can say that the point and line is incident if point is inside or element of the line. What does this mean in geometry? So that we can imagine, let's say, we have line L and then we have point P. Here, the point P is an element of line L when P lies on line L. Then, the point is an element of plane. Let's say we have plane and then inside the plane alpha is the point P. Then, the last one, line is an element of plane. Let's say we have again a plane alpha, then inside the plane alpha is the line L. Usually, we use uppercase letter for point and then lowercase for lines. Then the plane, we use Greek letters. Let's say alpha. So, these are the examples of incidents. Aside from that, we can say that the former lies on or in the latter. So it means this point lies on line L. In this point P lies in plane alpha or line L lies in plane alpha. Then again, aside from that, we can say that the latter passes through the former. So meaning, in this figure, we can say that line L passes through the point P, plane alpha passes through the point P, and plane alpha passes through line L. Let's remember of the wordings passes through and the word incident. So, when we have line, let's say line L passes through point P and Q, then we can say that line L joins P and Q. Let's write it as line L is equals to PQ. Take note, PQ, it is the 2 points. F represents line L. The next, let's say plane alpha passes through lines L and M. Then we can say that plane alpha joins two lines L and M. Then we can write it as alpha equals ML or LM. It can be interchanged. So take note, ML or LM symbolizes two lines, two small letters in one plane. This means plane alpha passes through lines ML or joins two lines. Next is when plane alpha passes through a line and point not incident on the line. Then the plane alpha joins the line and the point, and we denote it as alpha equals PL or LP. So for example, we have lines L and M, then we have point P. So if point P lies L and M, then we say that these lines met at point P, and we write P equals L dot M. So take note, it has a dot. and LM represents a point P or the common point of the line LM. So, we have a note here. LM represents a plane, but if L dot M F represents a point or the common point of the line. Take note, LM and L dot M are different. Usually, we used to represent L dot M, LM, but in projective geometry, they represent different meanings. Aside from that, we have L dot alpha, and it represents common point of a line and a plane. And if alpha dot beta, it is two planes and it represents common line of two planes or line intersection of two planes. So, these are the only basic ideas that we need to know in projective geometry. Our next lesson, we are going to discuss the basic geometric object. So, there are three geometric objects. First, let's start with triangle. So, the triangle, let's say we have three lines and 3 points, P, Q, and R. Then, if 3 points are joined in pairs by the 3 lines, then they form a triangle. So, in this triangle, we have 3 vertices. These are P, Q, and R. And the sides are PQ, QR, and PR. Now, let's have complete quadrangle. If 4 points in a plane are joined in pairs by 6 distinct lines, they are called vertices of a complete quadrangle. And the lines are its 6 sides. For example, if complete quadrangle, we have PQRS. The sides are PQ, QR, RS, PR, QS, and PS. So, what are the vertices? We have P, Q, R, and S. Now, we have also the opposite sides and diagonal point. So, the opposite sides, these are the two sides of a quadrangle where the common point is not the vertex. Okay? For example, we have PR and QS. So, what is the common point of PR and QS? So, that is B. Therefore, PR and QS are opposite sides. Another, we have PQ and RS. The common point is C, okay, which is not a vertex. Then, the last one is PS and QR, where the common point is A, which is not a vertex. Okay, so the last one, let's have the complete quadrilateral. If 4 lines in a plane meet by pairs in 6 distinct points, they are called the sides of a complete quadrilateral, and the points are its 6 vertices. For example of complete quadrilateral, we have quadrilateral PQRS, where the vertices are P.S, P.Q, P.R, Q.R, R.S, and Q.S. So, these are the 6 vertices of our complete quadrilateral. Okay? Next, we have the sides. There are 4 sides, the P, Q, R, and S. If in a complete quadrangle, there are opposite sides and diagonal points, here in a complete quadrilateral, we have opposite vertices and diagonal line. Okay? So, what are the opposite vertices here? The opposite vertices are the two vertices of a complete quadrilateral where they are joined and not aside. For example, P.S and Q.R is being connected by line, meaning P.S and Q.R are opposite vertices. By the way, a diagonal line is a line segment that connects two non-adjacent vertices. So P.Q and R.S, the diagonal line is B and P, or P.R and Q.S is line C. In this topic, we are going to discuss about projectivities. So we will start our discussion with the two most important terms, the range and the pencil. When we say range, this is a set of all points in a line. So for example, we have line O, then it have an example of points, point A, B, and C. While pencil is a set of all lines that lie in a plane and pass through the same point. Okay, here's an example of lines within a pencil are line A, line B, and line C. As you can see, all of these lines pass through at one point, which is point O. Okay? So now, pencil and range are one of example of one-dimensional forms. So let's talk about correspondence. We can say that there are one-to-one correspondence. Those pencil and range when corresponding members is incident. So for example, I have something to show you here, a member of range which is point A, B, and C. And then member of pencil lines A, B, C. So the point and line A, point B and line B, and point C and line C are all incident, and so on. Okay? So when it's incident, those corresponding members of range and pencil. Therefore, we can say that there is one-to-one correspondence between these two one-dimensional forms. Okay? So that this is very important of one-to-one correspondence. So, in the future, we will expand our discussion on that. Okay? Now, so take note that the line O, where the points are lined up in the range, it is not incident from the point O, where the lines of pencil passes. So therefore, they cannot be incident. So take note of that, and then in this range, we call this range a section of the pencil or section by the line O, and then the pencil as well. So we can say that the pencil projects the range. Okay? From the given example, the pencil projects the range from the point O. Let's move on into the notation of elementary correspondence. So you'll notice we have a large X and then small x. The large X is the variable point of the range. Then the small x as well, it defines the variable line of the pencil. So that means the large X, it represents all members in the range. Then the small x, it represents also all of the members or all the lines in the pencil. Okay? So you'll notice here the small x is passed through into point O. So usually, the point O, we call it the center, and then the large x is lying here on the line O. So often, we call this the axis, okay? And then you'll notice in the figure that the small x and the large x are incident. So that means the members of range are corresponding in every member of the pencil. Okay? Now, the notation we use in elementary correspondence, that's the symbol for X, and that's the symbol for exist. So that means there is existing correspondence or elementary correspondence between the variable point or between the range and the pencil, so we can represent it as in terms of particular points of the range and the specific lines and pencil. So for example, in this figure, to show their correspondence, we have A, B, and C, dot, 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 then the symbol of this reverse of B, and a dash at the top to show the correspondence of points, also the lines of the pencil A, B, C. So, that means there is elementary correspondence, or there is one-to-one correspondence between the points from the range and the line from the pencil, okay? Now, so here, as you can see, in this figure, the line A passes through in point O, is incident here to point A, then the line B is incident to point B, and the line C is incident to point C. Then, this is the center O and also an axis, and then you'll notice here, it's not supposed to be incident, the point O, then the line A, B, C, and O, okay? So now, take note that A, B, C plus the correspondence has also same meanings as B, A, C, okay? So, we can change their possessions. Then another one, the earlier one in terms of variable points and variable lines, so the correspondence of range, then the variable point, also the variable line from the range and pencil. We can interpret it as from large x to small x, or the meaning of this transforming large x into x. So aside from simple correspondence, we can interpret it as from range large x transforms into small x, okay? So in terms of transformation, since the large x, the range is incident to the pencil, okay? So this interpretation, if we reverse it, let's say small x transform into large x. Now, let's have a sequence of lines and points occurring alternately. So we have line O, point O, line O sub 1, point O sub 1, line O sub 2, and so on up to the line sub n. And we can add to that as point O sub n. Okay, so now if you notice here from the sequence of lines and points, the range x lying here at line O, the x prime is in O sub 1. X double prime is in O sub 2, and so on up to X sub n to O sub n. Then here, from the pencil, we have set of pencils. The small x is in the point O, pass through here in point O, and then the X prime pass through in O sub 1, and so on, okay? Then, take note in this given, it should be the adjacent members shall be non-incident, then the alternate members, let's say we have O, it should be distinct plus it is non-incident, okay? Then, this is also the point O and O prime and so on. It should be distinct, then here, we can establish ourselves in this arrangement and create a transformation relating the range of point X that is here in O to the pencil of lines X sub n, okay? Or, it can also be from the pencil of lines X to point O to the range of points X sub n, or X raised to the power of n on line O, okay? We call it transformation projectivity. Okay, so here, we have notation. So in this case, what happens here is we experience what called product of elementary correspondence. Okay, so the earlier, one elementary correspondence only if it flows continuously like a connection from X. Let's start here transforming into small x, then transform into x prime, then transform into small x prime. transforms into x double prime, transforms into, and so on up to x raised to n. Okay, we can extend it, although we can't see that in the figure. So we can extend that as x raised to n. Okay, now, so instead of this, our rotation is very long, so we can write it as 1. Excuse me. X from here up to the end of pencil, okay? At the end of the pencil of lines, there's x raised to n from the point here. Variable points rather up to the end of variable lines of the pencil, or it can also be aside from this, the small x started here to the above. So small x up to n, it can also be small x up to here as well, okay? They are the same, or it can be large x up to here as well, and large x. In other words, we didn't write the middle part where it crosses. It simply rewrite as on both sides or at the end of lines. So that means here, the symbol of this, it's not just like that as elementary correspondence in this part. So here, we regard it as product of any number of elementary correspondence, okay? So the transformation here, what I showed you.
In this video, we will going to discuss perspectivities. Two ranges are related by a perspectivity with center O. If they are sections of one pencils, consisting of all the lines through O, by two distinct lines of O and O sub 1, that is, if the joint x and x prime of corresponding points continually passes through the points. In symbols, x and x prime is center of related perspectivity, or x and x prime is related perspectivity of center of O. So we have here the example. So take note that we have heard the two dots on the top. Okay. So we have the two ranges. The first range is point ABC, that would line of O, and the second range point is A prime, B prime, and C prime, that would line the O sub 1. How can we say that are related of perspectivities, which is the center of perspectivity is the point O? According to the definitions that I read while ago, we once have pencils or one set of points that all the set of lines are passes through lines O. Each should intersect two ranges. Okay, example here that A, small a, and A prime are connected or intersect. Okay, then which we see that line A pass through O. So in these lines, B intersect to the point small b and B prime and passes through O. It is a pencils of lines that intersect of two ranges that have lines A, B, C, that it would tell us to related to perspectivity, which is in the point O. In terms of elementary correspondence, we have to write ABC, transform into small abc, and then transform into A prime, B prime, and C prime. So we have here that A, small a, and A prime into B, small b, and B prime, then C, small c, and C prime. These terms are related in perspectivity correspondence. We have here the constructions of two perspectivities. So in this figure, we have line passing through ABC and line passing through A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime, and another line, intermediate line, passing through A prime, B prime, and C prime, where the A prime, that is the intersections of line A prime, and A double prime, and B prime, and C prime, and B intersection of A double prime, B, and A, and B double prime, and C intersection of A double prime, C, and A and C double prime, then we can set up two perspectivities in one produce of this effect. So what are the two perspectivities? A, B, C, and then A prime, B prime, and C prime are, you can see this the figure A, B, C, and then A prime, B prime, C prime are related to perspectivities at the center of A double prime. They are related to perspectivities if the pencils passes through the same corresponding point range, which is passes through the centered A double prime. Passes through also A prime and A, and B prime and B, and C prime and C, and the second is A prime, B prime, and C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. As you can see from the A passes through A prime and A double prime, B prime, and B double prime, then C prime, then C double prime. Okay. So from this ABC, we can transform into A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. Now for each point X on line AB, we can construct of one corresponding X double prime on A double prime, B double prime line by jointly A to the point X prime, which is the X prime intersections of A double prime X and B prime and C prime, so that A, B, C, X and A prime, B prime, C prime, and X prime, X and X prime are bilateral points. It's related to respectivity with center A double prime. Same A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, and X double prime related perspectivity center. It's not just 3 or more points to view to know. We have here the constructions of two perspectivities. Second example. Two perspectivities whose produce has this effect. Recall the perspectivities in terms pencils. We can see that two pencils are related by perspectivity with the given axis if the two pencils corresponding line of pencils meet in axis. As you can see, for example, we have ABC and A prime, B prime, and C prime with axis A double prime, and A prime that meets with the point in A double prime. Then B and B prime which meet in A double prime, and C prime and C double prime which meet also in A double prime. And our respectivity A prime, B prime, and C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime with axis A. As you can see, the axis A double prime, and A prime meet in one line axis in A double prime. Then B prime, B double prime meet in the point line A. Same with C prime and C double prime. From these two perspectivities, A, B, C can be transformed into A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. Let's have this very interesting theorem. Any four collinear points can be interchanged in pair by a projectivity. Okay, so let's have this figure. So you've noticed in figure 4 collinear points A, B, C, D. Then we have points R are not in the line. And then we have points T, Q, W where the point T are in the line RA, point Q are in the line RB, and W are in the line RC. And T, Q, W are collinear that passed through subpoint D. And we have point Z, which is intersections of a line AQ and RC. So from this figure in elementary correspondence, take note that we talks about projectivity, whereas you can see ABCD transform into BADC. So you've noticed AB interchange BA, CD interchange DC. So we have two pairs interchange from the four collinear point. We use the idea of projectivity ABCD, then out BADC. Notice that the Q and A also passes through Z. BQR also passes to DQ and W. ABCD, Z and ZRCW are related by a perspectivity centered at Q. Now, ZRCW, let's see that pass through A, RZQ also the TQ, then the D passes through C, then W. The QTDW, they are related of perspectivity centered at A. Then from QTDW, notice the pencils of the line centered at R to T and T to A. So, a new correspondent at corresponding points, the QB past A. The goal is to interchange. C passes to W, then we have to write the letter D. QTDW and BADC are related perspectivity in centered of R in terms of perspectivities from ABCD to ZRCW to QTDW to BADC. And if we write as an elementary correspondence, we have ABCD up to BADC. From four collinear points, they interchange. ABCD by projectivity is easy to the idea of our problem.
So in this video, we are going to discuss about invariant points. So let's have this figure. So in this figure, we can observe the ABC and the ABS are related by a perspectivity centered at R. So if we will notice range ABC, ABS, how could we say that they are related by a perspectivity centered at R? Okay, since pencil of lines, if we will observe these lines in the pencil that passes through point R, we have A, and then we have line that passes through P and B, then line that passes through S and C. So that's why we say that they are related by a perspectivity centered at R. And then another, we have APS and AFB centered at Q. So let's observe that the A here is in, and we have PF, then we have SB. So we talk about the range of EPS, because if you notice YQ passes through R, we talk about the range of APS and the AFB, okay? So we have A, the R is not a part of it, so we have A and then PF and then SB. The A only corresponds in itself, so we can look it or change it in another way. If the center is S, and we can make a perspectivity at it. For example, this is our range, the range ABC, and then range AQR. Then we look at it as the pencil of the lines that passes through S. So we have here again the P is not part of it, because this is only the line AFBCARQ that we have talked about. And this, the line A corresponds itself, in this, the A corresponds itself, and then we have SQB. So B corresponds at Q, and then another one, we have SRC that passes through R and C. So from ABC to AQR, and from AQR to AFB centered at P. So at AQR then AFB, then we will observe or look to the pencils of the lines through that passes through P. So the A again corresponds itself, not the S. We will not change this into S, because FQ and then we have RB. So AQR and AFB are related by a perspectivity centered at P.
As you can see, if we write it in terms of projectivity or product of elementary correspondence in ABC, it turned out or it transformed into AFB, right? Now, what can you observe here? To the figure, we can observe that the A corresponds in A, B corresponds in F, C corresponds in B, but we can observe more that A corresponds in itself. Now, in projectivity ABC, AFB, if the A corresponds itself, we will call the A invariant point. So this is we call the invariant point when the point corresponds in itself at the projectivity. Next, we're going to discuss the basic axioms and theorems on projective geometry. So let's start with the three basic axioms. Axiom 1, there exists a point and a line that are not incident. Axiom 2, every line is incident with at least 3 distinct points. Axiom 3, any 2 distinct points are incident with just one line. For axiom 4, if A, B, C, D are 4 distinct points such that AB meets CD, then AC meets BD. For better understanding, we have here an illustration. Okay, for axiom 4, so let's say we have 4 distinct points. Then we have AB that will meet CD. Let's say this is point A, point B, point C, and point D. Then AB and CD meets this is point, okay. Then according to axiom 4, if AB and CD meet, then automatically AC and BD will also meet. If we draw a line from A to C and B to D, automatically the 2 lines will meet or intersect. Next, for axiom 5, if ABC is a plane, there is at least one point not in the line ABC. For this axiom, it states or shows the idea of 3-dimensional. Okay, so for axiom 6, any 2 distinct planes have at least 2 common points. For axiom 7, the 3 diagonal points of a complete quadrangle are never collinear. Okay, so here we have an illustration. Let's draw a quadrangle. Let's consider that quadrangle PQRS, and there is B, C, and A. Okay, so if you have remembered, do you still recognize the diagonal points in our previous lessons? So the diagonal points here are the points A, B, and C, since these are not included to the vertices of our complete quadrangle, since our quadrangle is PQRS. So according to axiom 7, that all the diagonal points will never be collinear. Actually, the 3 diagonal points will form a triangle if they are not collinear. We can call it diagonal triangle of a quadrangle. Okay, now let's have the 4 basic theorems. Theorem 1 states that any 2 distinct lines have at least one common point. Okay, so let's prove first the theorem number 1. For our proof, now we talk about the 2 distinct points. So suppose 2 lines A and B have 2 common points A and B. Then according to axiom 3, any 2 distinct points are incident with just one line that will join the 2 points. So by axiom 3, both lines are determined by points A and B coincide, contradicting our assumption that they are distinct. Okay, so now let's have theorem number 2. Any 2 coplanar lines have at least one common point.
Let E be a point coplanar with the two lines but not on the other of them. Okay, then let E be a point coplanar with the two lines but not on either of them. Okay, then let A, C, B one of the lines. So our target here is that one line must be intersect in AC, or at least they have at least one common point. Okay, now line can be put into one-to-one correspondence so that pairs of corresponding points are joined by concurrent lines, or if the lines can be put into one-to-one correspondence so that pairs of corresponding lines meet in collinear points. So here in our discussion, we're talking about two concepts: perspective figures from a point and perspective figures from a line. The first involves viewing objects from a single viewpoint, while the second pertains to observing objects along a specific line. The first perspective is from a point when the corresponding lines are joined by concurrent lines. Okay? So let's remember that I will give you one example for that. The other example is from a line when the pairs of corresponding lines meet at collinear points. So each of it will give one example. So the figure we will use is a perspective triangle. So for example, we have here two triangles with points or vertices A, B, C, and A prime, B prime, C prime. So that is the example of perspective triangle from a point O. Okay, so how do we say they are perspective triangles? Because the corresponding points, let's say A prime, are joined by three concurrent lines through point O. Okay, so this is the line that joins point A to A prime, B to B prime, and C to C prime, all concurrent at point O. Okay, so triangle ABC and triangle A prime, B prime, C prime are our perspective from a point O. Okay, so for another example, let's have triangle ABC, triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Then we have line O with points X, Y, and Z. So take note that X, Y, and Z are collinear points because they are lying in a single line, which is line O. So these two triangles are perspective from a line, since the corresponding sides of those two triangles, they meet here at the collinear points through line O. So for example here, line AC or line CA, then side C prime A prime meet at point Y. Okay, then the side AB and A prime B prime meet at point X. Then lastly, CB and C prime B prime meet at point C, that is these 3 points are collinear in this line. Okay, so triangle ABC and A prime, B prime, and C prime of perspective of a line O. Okay, so we have an important theorem that we can use in the next discussion. We call it Desargues theorem. So according to Desargues theorem, if two triangles are perspectives from a point, then automatic they are perspective from a line. Okay, so understood that. Then we have converse, which is also if two triangles perspective from a line, automatic down perspective from a point. So that means it is biconditional. So from a perspective from a point, automatic, therefore we can conclude that it is perspective from a range 2. So from a line, we can conclude it as perspective from a point already. So this is useful in our next topic, or in the higher part of projectivities.
Quadrangular set. So, a quadrangular set is the section of a complete quadrangle by any line G that does not pass through a vertex. So, a quadrangular set, the contents or parts of it are 6 collinear points, and every point are passed by every side of the quadrangle. Then, sometimes, the quadrangular set are reduced. It can be 5 or it will be 4 when the side of our quadrangle passes through into the 1 or 2 diagonal points. For example, the side of the quadrangle passes through by any one diagonal point. It will only become 5 collinear points. But if it passes through 2 diagonal points, it will become 4 collinear points. Okay? So let us demonstrate the figure of the quadrangular set and the quadrangle. Okay? Given this figure, so this is our quadrangle. So again, what is quadrangle? If we say quadrangle, there are 4 vertices and then 6 sides. So in this figure, this is our quadrangle QRPS, and our vertices are Q, R, P, and S. Then the sides are QS, SP, PR, QR, QP, and RS. The quadrangular set that we referred, which consists of 6 collinear points. So, here, our figure. These are the 6 collinear points. The D, A, C, E, B, F. So, if you observe, every point is being passed by every one side of the quadrangle. Okay? That's why we called it as quadrangular sets. For example, RQ passes through D, PS passes through A, RS passes through C, PR passes through E, QS passes through B, and then QP passes through F. Now, our notation for this, our quadrangular set will be Q. So this is the relation. Q stands for quadrangular set. We will use letter Q, then ABC using this figure. We will put name in it. So, this is the name. ABC and DEF. Okay? So, why ABCDEF? So, in this, it's messy. The ABC, why we use this? So that we can demonstrate or prove that points ABC are lies on the sides that intersects in one vertex, which is vertex S. For example, this A is on the side of PS, passes through S. The B is on the side of QS, and then the C is in the side of RS. Okay? Which is those 3 sides intersects the same point at point S. Okay? Then the DEF, the sides that passes through D, E, and F form into triangle. For example, ND. We have QR, and then E, we have RP, and then the F, we have QP. So, this is our triangle. Sides QR, RP, and QP. So, this form triangle QRP. So, this will be our notation. It can be interchanged. For example, BAC, EDF, or CAB, FED. Now, we can also rewrite it as AD, BE, and then CF. It can also be interchanged DA, EBFC. It can also be reversed by position BEADNCF and so on. So, we have an important theorem involving quadrangular set. So, each point of a quadrangular set is uniquely determined by the remaining points. So, in this illustration, for example, we have 5 points, the points A, B, C, D, E, that are belong in the quadrangular set. In this, we will prove that point F, another point in quadrangular set, can be determined using the 5 points A, B, C, D, E. Okay, for example, point F is none or missing. Then we will determine every point. So, another important information, uniquely determined. So, it means whatever ways we will do or figure that we will draw, the result will only be one point, which we will prove here is point F. We will write it into statement. For example, we will draw triangle QRS. The sides are QR, RS, and QS. The QR passes through point D, RS passes through C, and then QS passes through point B. Let's make it a statement for illustration. So, draw a triangle from this figure QRS whose sides RS, SQ, and QR pass respectively through CBD. Now, from this, we can construct another point which is, let's say, point P, that is the intersection of AS. We must use the 5 remaining points of the quadrangle set, and then we will determine the remaining 1 point. In this, we use the CBD, and then next is A and E. But in here, from the triangle, the intersection of AS and ER, we can construct another point, which is the point. We will describe it as the intersection of AS and ER. So, in this, the point, we constructed another point. Let's say this point P, which is intersection of the ES and AR. So, for example, we have triangle, and then we construct point that intersection of ES and ER. We can construct P, which is intersection of AS and ER. Let's imagine that the triangle is preceded, and then we construct another point which is point P, and then from the triangle that we made and point P, and using these 5 points D, E, C, E, B. In this, we can construct another point which is intersection of the line G, and then PQ. Okay? So, we can also construct point F, which is intersection of line G and line PQ. Now, we determine quadrangular set using the 5 points C, B, D, E, A. Okay? And then, the purpose of the triangle QRS. So, let's make another way. Let's say triangle RPS. The RP passes through E, PS passes through C, and then PS passes through A. It is not allowed or right that it will passes through F because we will only going to determine the F. Choose triangle RPS whose sides RP, PS, and RS pass respectively through EAC. So, in this, we can construct another point which is intersection of DR. So, that's the missing of EAC, the B, and D. So, DR and BS, from our figure, we can construct another point Q. Let's say point Q, which is intersection of DR and BS. Okay, we can construct Q, which is intersection of DR and BS. Harmonic set. So by definition, a harmonic set of four collinear points may be defined to be the special case of a quadrangular set when the line G joins two diagonal points of a quadrangle. So, given this figure, we have quadrangle. Then, if you have noticed, line G passes through the two diagonal points of the quadrangle. Okay? In this case, line G passes through two diagonal points. There are now only four collinear points and we call it harmonic sets. So, our four collinear points are A, B, C, and F. Point E is being passed by two opposite sides, ER and AP. Point B, PR and QS. And if you have noticed, like G is being passed through by the two sides that will intersect on the third diagonal point. Okay, now here our notation is this each AB, which are the two diagonal points, and then CF. We can also write this for notation for harmonic set as each AB FC or H BE CF or H BE FC. These are all the same, okay? We can also write it as open parenthesis AA, close parenthesis, open parenthesis BB, close parenthesis, and open parenthesis CF. Okay? Now, here are C and F. We call it F is the harmonic conjugate of C with respect to A and B, and of course, vice versa. Like C, which is the harmonic conjugate of F with respect to E and B. Okay, let's use our theorem. Each point of a quadrangular set is uniquely determined by the remaining points. So, since harmonic sets are a special case of quadrangular set, so it contains this mentioned theorem. So, for example, here we will determine F, but we will use points A, B, C. Okay? So, let's draw a triangle QRS. Now, if we draw a triangle, it must not pass through if. So, QRS, RS passes through C, QS passes through B, and RQ passes through A. Okay, so draw a triangle QRS whose sides QR, RS, and QS pass through A, B, and C. Then we can construct again P, which is again intersection of ES and BR. Thus, we can construct P intersection of ES and PR, and F intersection of G and PQ. Let's have our another theorem. If A, B, and C are all distinct, the relation H harmonic set A, B, and CF implies that F distinct from C. Okay? So, in harmonic set, this A, B, C, F are collinear points where A and B are the two diagonal points. So why do we say that F is distinct from C? It's because, according to axiom 7, the three diagonal points of a complete quadrangle are never collinear. So C will never be a diagonal point. That's why they are distinct, okay? So it follows that there must be at least 4 points on every line which. So we're going to discuss about the two-dimensional principle of duality. But before we go in it, we have new set of axioms here. So there are 6 axioms. So the first one, we will just maintain it. Any two distinct points are incident with just one line. Then the axioms 1, 2, and 4, we will replace it into simpler statement that N2 and N3 wherein, according to N2, any two distinct lines are incident with at least 1 point, and for N3, there exist 4 points of which no 3 are collinear. Then for N4, we will just maintain it that 3 diagonal points of a complete quadrangle are never collinear. And then we have N5, the Desargues theorem that I discussed last lesson. We will treat or make it as axiom for projective plane. Again, according to Desargues theorem, if two triangles are perspective from a point, they are perspective from a line. Okay? And then we have the last axiom. If a projectivity leaves invariant each of 3 distinct points on a line, it leaves invariant every point on the line. So, these are the 6 axioms that we will use for discussion about projective plane. Now, let's proceed to two-dimensional principle of duality. Every definition remains significant and every theorem remains true when we interchange the words point and line, and the other pairs of words such as join and meet, collinear and concurrent, vertex and side, and so forth. So, what is meant by principle of duality? Okay, if in the definition or in theorem, we can see the point and then we create another definition or theorem wherein we will change the point into line, and then of course the words that we use, for example, the join, we change it into meet. The collinear, for example, the collinear points, we change it into concurrent lines. Okay, the vertex, we will change it into side. For example, in those definition, but same definition. We just change it, those words, then we can say that the original definition or theorem is true that came from the original definition. So, those are what it's trying to say about the principle duality. So, that's why it's duality, because the original definition or theorem, its dual is the other definition or theorem, which is we just change the words line, meet, and so on. Okay, for example, we have point. So you can see we have A, B, C, D. So in this line AB and line CD, then it means that they intersect or they are concurrent. We talk here about point, the point of concurrency or the point of intersection. Okay, now, the dual definition of ABCD is this, wherein we have here the point AB and then point CD, and then it will turn or make into line ABCD still. So, in here, you can observe in duality or in the principle of duality, the point in between of AB and CD disappear when it become into line. Then the AB, when it become into line, it have or contain now a dot. A dot B. Okay, so same with CD. And then as you can see, from capital letter to small letter. So in this, it happened that the capital letter, which is point EV, we just change it into two lines that intersect. So from line AB, turn into point A dot B, the line CD turn into CD. Then the point EB or CD turn into line A dot B, C dot D. So it is what the principle of duality trying to say by using this example. So if this is true, this is also true. Okay? So now, what is the other example of principle of duality? So another example in the figure, the dual of the quadrangle. If you read or if you will go back in the discussion that we had in quadrangle or the definition of quadrangle and complete quadrilateral, you can observe there that their definition are almost similar. Their difference is that the point turn into line, the join become into meet, and so on. The vertex become side. Okay? So meaning, the dual of quadrangle is a quadrilateral. Okay? So just return or go back to the lesson that we had about complete quadrangle and complete quadrilateral. And then another example, we have self-dual figure. Okay? So the example about it is the triangle, because if you notice the definition of the triangle, find its dual. The dual of triangle is still a triangle. Aside from the examples of duality earlier, the given axioms that we had discussed have dual also. We have here a dual in N3 up to N6, but if you observe, there is no N1 and N2, because in N1, its dual is the N2. If you notice, in 1, any two distinct points are incident with just one line. So let's just see its dual statement. Any two lines from points become into lines are incident with at least one point. Now let's go in N3. Let's observe the dual of N3. So in N3, there exist 4 points of which no 3 are collinear. What is the dual of N3? There exist at least 4 lines. From 4 points become 4 lines, no 3 of which are concurrent. From collinear to concurrent. Okay? So you notice the principle of duality in here. So next, in 4, the 3 diagonal points of a complete quadrangle are never collinear. The 3 diagonal lines from points to lines of a complete quadrilateral dual of the quadrangle are never concurrent. Okay? So next, dual of the Desargues theorem. If two triangles are perspective from a point, they are perspective from a line. So I know that Desargues and its dual was already discussed in the past lesson. This is its dual if two triangles, as you can see, it's self-dual, are perspective from a line. Okay? Then, they are perspective from a point. The last one in 6, if a projectivity leaves invariant each of 3 distinct points on a line, it leaves invariant every point on the line. So, the dual of N6, if a projectivity on a pencil of lines leaves 3 distinct lines of the pencil invariant, it leaves every line from point to line of the pencil invariant. So, according to the principle of duality, if the axioms that we discussed earlier from N1 to N6 we will accept true statement, then it implies that these statements are also true. Okay? Your dual should be accepted to be true statements. We can also use this into the next discussion. So now, let's prove some statements here as true, so that we can really sure that they are true statements. Let's say dual of n3 and n5, then dual of n4 and n6. Proof dual of n5. Let triangle ABC and triangle A prime, B prime, C prime be perspective from a line with P is equals to AB, A prime, B prime. Let's say Q intersection of BC, B prime and C prime. Point R intersection of AC and A prime, C prime. The points P, Q, and R are collinear. Then P, Q, and R are collinear according to the definition of perspective from a line. Our goal here is to prove that the two triangles which is perspective from a line should perspective from a point. Let point O is the intersection of AA prime and BB prime. Let point O be their intersection. Our goal is what to show. The O should be in line CC prime. If we prove that O is in CC prime, which is the intersection of AA prime and BB prime, therefore the triangle is perspective from a point O. Let's consider another triangle. Triangles RAA prime and triangle QBB prime. Since P, Q, and R are collinear, so P is on the line QR. Since P is intersection of AB, a prime, AB, then P is on line AB. And on line A prime, B prime, this follows that RAA and QBB, the two triangles, are perspective from point P. By definition of perspective from a point. By the Sarge theorem or N5, if these two triangles are perspective from a point P, then the triangles or the two triangles are perspective from a line. So, the RAA prime and QBB prime are perspective from a line. By definition from a line, then every lines or sides intersects in 3 points which are collinear. Let's say one point C is the intersection of RA and QB. Let's have point C prime intersection of RA prime and QB prime, and point O intersection of AE prime and BB prime are collinear. This follows that point O is on line CC prime, thus EE prime, BB prime are concurrent, and also the CC prime. Therefore, ABC and A prime, B prime, C prime are perspective from point O.
In this video, we will discuss what configuration really is. So the definition of configuration is a set of m points and n lines in a plane is called a configuration. M sub C and n sub D if each of the m points is incident to the same number C out of n lines, while each of the n lines pass through the same number out of m points. So in short, the m is the vertices, then n is the sides, then the C of the m, that is the lines from the m. So okay, for example, we have 5 lines, then just take 3 from there, so it is the C, okay? So that means the m sub C, every point of the m, for example, we have 4 points from the m, then their C number of lines passes through. Okay, for example, if n sub D is 5, then the C is 3, then points is 4, meaning in every point of those means there are 3 lines passes through it. Okay, these 3 lines is come from the N sub D, which is 5 lines. Okay, same reason though. Later on, I will give you an example. Also the image of the figure. Okay, so here is the basic examples of configuration. So first, we have triangle. Okay, 3 sub 2, 3 sub 2. That means there are 3 vertices of a triangle. There are also 3 sides, right then? Sub 2, sub 2, meaning of 3 sub 2 in every vertex of a triangle, there are 3 sides passes through it. Okay, in the figure, there are 3 of 2 sides passes to it. So that is 3 sub 2. In the second of 3 sub 2, in every lines, there are 2 points passes to it. So for example, 2 vertices pass through a line or a side. So meaning, we can call it as a configuration. Now, 4 sub 3, 6 sub 2, another example of configuration. Incomplete quadrangle, so that means, here we have 4 vertices in every vertex. There are 3 sides passes through it. Then, next 6 sides, there are only 2 vertices passes in every sides of it. The same also as a complete quadrilateral, 6 sub 2, 4 sub 3. Let's say in every vertices there are 2 lines or 2 sides passes in every vertices. Then 4 sub 3. Here in every line there are 3 vertices passes to it. So for example, there are only 4 sides, then every side there are 3 points lying into it. So that is very easy to understand. So by the way, complete quadrangle and complete quadrilateral are called as dual configuration. Why? Because they are switched together. Okay, 4 sub 3, 6 sub 2, 6 sub 2, 4 sub 3. Okay, so we can remember that as dual configuration. Now, when you saw a figure triangle which is switched and it is still the same as triangle. By this case, we could call it a self-configuration. So another example of configuration is the Fano plane. The Fano plane has 7 sub 3, or we called it as self-configuration, and the dual though is Fano plane 2, that in every vertex has 3 sides passes to it. Okay, so there are still many configurations. So for example, Mobius-Cantor, Pappus configuration, Danzer's configuration, Klein configuration, and many more. In this topic, we're going to discuss about the most important theorem. So before that, let's recall first the projectivities and perspectivities. Let's start with perspectivities. If you have noticed, we have 2 pencil of points or 2 range of points in line M. There are points A, B, C, and in line M prime, we have C prime, B prime, and A prime. And as you can see, A maps to P, A prime through O, B maps to B prime through O, and C maps to C prime through O. Therefore, there exists a perspectivities between these 2 pencil of points or 2 range of points. So meaning, ABC is perspectively related to A prime, B prime, and C prime at center O. Okay? Then about the definition of projectivities, one-to-one mapping between the 2 pencil of points or 2 range of points, we can say that it is first projectivities if mapping is composition of finite elementary correspondence or composition of perspectivities. Okay? So from the composition of perspectivities, we can generalize it into projectivities. For example, we have range of points A, B, C, and we have A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, and different axes. Then as you can see, A maps to A prime through P, B maps to B prime through P, and C maps to C prime through P. Therefore, there exist perspectivities between A, B, C and A prime, B prime, C prime. So ABC is perspectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime, centered at P. And as you can see in our illustration, C prime maps to C double prime through O. B prime maps to B double prime through O. And A prime maps to A double prime through O. So therefore, A prime, B prime, C prime is perspectively related to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime at center O. Okay? In case we have compositions of two perspectivities, A, B, C perspectively related to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, and A prime, B prime, C prime is perspectively related to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. Then there exist projectivities according to definition. Now let's have this theorem. If A, B, C and A prime, B prime, C prime are distinct pencil of points with distinct axes P and P prime respectively, then there exists a projectivity such that ABC is projectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime. Now, let's prove this theorem. Let A, B, C be elements of pencil with axis M, then E prime, B prime, C prime be elements of a pencil with axis M prime, such that M and M prime are distinct. Okay? Now, our goal is to show that there exist a projectivities. Okay, so find a projectivity so that ABC is projectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime. Okay? Now, how can find a projectivity? So, here we're going to use the idea of the definition of projectivities. What we are going to do is to construct a composition of projectivities. Okay, now, by the way, we have showed a drawing. Let's say we have two pencil of points. We have A, B, C, and then we have B prime, C prime, and E prime. Now we are going to let A points where A and A prime will pass through. Let's say A maps to A prime at point P. Let P be a point on A and A prime. That is distinct from A and A prime, okay? Then we can map B through P and C through P. Let's map B to P and C to P. Now let's map C to A prime. In this case, intersection is formed. So, therefore, line BP and line CE intersect at point B. Let B be the point. Form a line through A prime and C, then B exists where is the intersection of A prime, C, and BP. From here, we have formed a perspectively wherein ABC is perspectively related to A prime, B, C. Okay, because A maps to A prime through P and B maps to B. Through P and C maps to itself through P. That's why, respectively, where ABC is perspective related to A prime, B, C. So we have ABC perspectively related to E prime, B, C with center P. Now, our next goal is to map A prime, B, C to E prime, B prime, C prime. So we can form projectivity now. We can map B sub 1 to B prime, C to C prime, and there exists an intersection, let's say point Q, okay? Then Q is the intersection between B sub 1, B prime, and C, C prime. Then here, respectively again, is formed where A prime, B sub 1, B, and A prime, B prime, C prime, because C maps to C prime through Q, and B sub 1 maps to B prime through Q, and A prime maps to itself through Q. Now we can have A prime, B, C perspectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime through O. And as you can see, we have a composition of two perspectivities. Then we have formed our projectivity, and that is ABC is projectively related to A prime, B prime, and C prime. In this video, we're going to discuss about the fundamental theorem of projective geometry and the proof of theorem of this. Okay, so according to this theorem, a projectivity between two pencils of points is uniquely determined by three pairs of corresponding points. Okay, so take note of that word. Okay, now let's prove it. So assume A, B, C, D are in a pencil of points with axis P. So in other words, they are lying to line P, and then let's say we have A prime, B prime, C prime, another pencil of points are in a pencil of points with axis to B prime. So the points also are lying in line B prime. Okay, so then there are existing, let's say, point D prime. According to the last theorem last time, there exists a point D prime on P prime, such that A, B, C, D is projectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. Okay, there is projectivity happening in here. Between two pencil of points, what we're going to do is let's assume a distinct points. Let's say D double prime, which is on D prime axis. Also suppose there is another projectivity and a point D double prime, such that ABCD is projectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime, D double prime. Okay, so here I am assuming that there are more examples of projectivity. Okay, so there are many other points. Let's say D double prime, such that ABC is projectively related to A prime, B prime, C prime, D double prime. So my goal here is I should show that this D prime is the same as this D double prime. I am assuming again of another point. Let's say D double prime. So I should show that this is only same, because according to fundamental theorem of projectivity geometry, the projectivity of between two pencil of points, it should uniquely determine by three pairs of corresponding points. Okay, so now take note, when you say projectivity, that is one-to-one and automatic. So for example, A map to A prime, B map to B prime, C map to C prime, D map to D prime, and then on to so on. All of the elements R is map, all of the elements here is map. Then it is uniquely mapped out. Okay, so one-to-one and onto are also known as bijective mappings. Okay? And then, the composition of one-to-one and ontomatic. Take note again that is also a one-to-one and ontomatic. And also the inverse function. So for example, we have function. Windows function is one-to-one and onto. Also the inverse is one-to-one and onto 2. Okay, so now that idea, since it is composition, so by composition. So since it is projectively related here and projectively related to, therefore the E prime, B prime, C prime, D prime is projectively related to E prime, B prime, C prime, D double prime. Okay, now as you can see, the A prime, B prime, C prime is all invariant points. Now, if those three is invariant points, then it follows that the D prime must invariant point too. The next or another consecutive point, okay, according to our axiom number 6, if we look back to axiom 6, it states that if a projectively leads invariant each of three distinct points on a line, it leads invariant every point on the line. Okay, so there are three invariant points. It follows that D prime must be invariant point. So since A prime, B prime, C prime are invariant points, then the fourth point is also invariant by axiom number 6. Okay? So therefore, if the 4 point is invariant, then the D prime must be equal to D double prime. Okay? So therefore, the projectivity is unique. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.